Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal Edwards here speaking, and I'm back. And you know why I'm back? It's because of you. It's because of your great support that an interview with Edward has taken off globally, and it's because you're handsome and beautiful. Now, we've got one of my wonderful friends from the opposite side of Australia that I'm talking to in this beautiful interview. Now, if you don't know about it, Australia is actually one of the largest continents on our planet. Coast to coast is basically 5 hours, a similar distance to going from the west coast to east coast of the United States. You know what? This guy is amazing. He's a copywriter. He's a marketer. He's also very active on LinkedIn as a top influencer, and he's big in the meetup community. And he's also Italian, and he's into Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and great films like Goodfellas, and of course Scarface. Of course, an honorable mention to Casino. Carlo Guzzi, how are you today?
I'm great, Edward. Thanks a lot for having me on the show again.
Carlo, I've got to say, it's an absolute honor having you on our show. And, you're an amazing copywriter and marketer. Carlo, can you tell us a bit about you and what you do and how you help people across the world?
Yeah, well, basically what I do is I improve businesses' marketing with persuasive words and adding in that mix storytelling, and which is a part of also indirect persuasion. So it's all these nice stuff that really helps cut through all the noise.
And I've got to say, it's incredible. I mean, I've seen your work. You've done a lot of work for our wonderful shared clients and all that. Carlo, can you give us a few really hot tips on how to write persuasive words? Like, maybe I'll ask you a different question. What does persuasion mean? We hear the word persuasion all the time. What does that mean before we dive into the detail?
Well, persuasion basically means the prospect is making a decision a lot sooner than is typical. So if you've got a really powerful message and you've got a great offer, so the copy is one thing, but you definitely need a very enticing offer to attract people. So persuasion has to have a number of elements, but it's not arm twisting, it's not hard sell tactics, because nowadays persuasion has changed and there's a lot of storytellers, and it's definitely it's a very busy area, storytelling, but it's a good combination with copywriting though.
And what do you mean by storytelling? We know what a story is, but what do you mean by storytelling in a sales persuasion context?
Well, in that particular context, it's mainly about, like, if a business has created a product. So, for example, Apple, everybody knows a story about Steve Jobs and how he came up with the name Apple, because I think him and his business partner, they were working at an apple orchard, and they came up with that name. So that's an example. Like the story is that the product, I mean, how the name was given, and a story can also be how you struggled. Anybody could have struggled, where they went from being broke to becoming highly successful. So that's another. There's different types of stories. But yeah, storytelling usually uses the problem aggravation solution. That's quite dominant in copywriting.
And what is that? What is the problem aggregation solution? You're dropping all these awesome truth bombs. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, it's like a formula. So basically, you state the problem. That's usually early on in your copy, and then you sort of aggravate that problem. So you're rubbing it into the wounds, as they say. So it's like the person reading it feels, oh, I need to lose some weight, for example, if it's a weight loss program. And then you have the solution. So the solution is, if it's weight loss, it could be a particular fitness program or eating plan. Obviously you've got to have proof that it works, and then you've got sort of action. But the complete formula is called PASPA. But I did mention PAS, which is problem, aggravate, and solution. So, but it's the same thing.
But just let's pick on an older fat version of Edward's ear, right? I put on a lot of weight so I'm in my early 40s now, but I put on a lot of weight in my mid 30s. I just ballooned, right? Absolutely ballooned. So, for example, marketing to me back then would have been, are you Edward's ear and are you a fatty? Question one. Number two would be aggravate. So, Ed, are you sick of being a single loser? Right? And was it problem three? Sign up to Carlo's gym right now and become a lean stud. Number four, pull out your credit card. Number five, sign up here. Is that basically the process?
Yeah, that's that's a really good example. So you've got all the elements there.
Wow, I gotta say, I love how you've really broken it down, and that actually makes a lot of sense. I love how you've unpacked it into a structure. So, can you, just for the sake of our audience, we've got great, beautiful people across the world, can you just unpack those elements again? Because I think it's really powerful, because if we all are clear on the structure, it'll help everyone right. So could you just quickly unpack those 5 points again for the sake of our wonderful audience?
Yeah, no, I love doing it. So, yeah, just remember PASPA. So it's problem. So state the problem. And, that could take 2 paragraphs, could take 1, or whatever the case may be. So basically with your audience, it's what's in it for them. So, yeah, it's all about, obviously you've got to do your research. So that's really very important. So then you know what you're talking about, and then you aggravate the problem a bit much, like you said. So you aggravate, and that you really need this solution, otherwise your life's going to be hell, or your wife's going to leave you, or you're going to lose money. You're going to all these kind of emotions. So you do got to hit those nerves with the aggravation. I know it's not nice, but this is what marketers do. And
I love it. I just kept thinking you're going to get diabetes and die. Something cool.
Yeah, you're going to die. You're no good anymore. I mean, even your parents can't stand you. No, just joking.
This is awesome. This is awesome. I can tell you're an Italian guy. Only an Italian guy would be as hot as spicy as you, Carlo.
Look, us Italians, we come from the background, like parents set high standards. We don't like to disappoint them, so we know what it's like to have our asses kicked in.
So you got problem, aggravation,
and then you got the solution. So the solution could be a special. Let's talk about weight loss. It could be a special drink. The ones that bodybuilders use. I think hydroxycut, something like that. So the solution could be just something simple like that. It could be a weight loss program, and we do know a lot of awesome fitness trainers. That's why it's on my mind. And so that's the solution. And even if it's a professional service, your solution could be, you could be the solution. Like if you run weekly webinars, you are solving, people's problems by educating them, especially in your case, Edwin.
Yeah, gotcha. So it's problem, aggravation, solution,
and then proof is just usually that it works. So obviously happy clients, like testimonials, like LinkedIn recommendations are really good. Even case studies, if you have them, before and after that you can, even a bathroom renovator builder, they use those quite often. So that's very important, the proof. I mean, proof seals the deal, because without that, the copy can be fantastic, but if it's not proven, it's really going to kill the sale off. So that's probably number one thing, the proof. And then the last bit is the action, is like, show me the money, like Tom Cruise said. So pull out your credit card. So you need a compelling call to action. Buy now or act now, otherwise your life's going to be all over before we know it.
Gotcha. Wow, that's I love the way you've unpacked it. one of the first copywriters I've spoken to that have unpacked it into a structure, and I know our audience will absolutely love it. And I want to move on to the next thing. And again, we've spoken about this a lot in our shared webinars where you come on as a guest, Carlo. You talk about power words, okay? Powerful words that are psychologically persuasive. Can you tell us what a power word is and maybe give us a few of your favorite examples, Carlo?
Yeah, no, power words, they're very important because they're not, research has shown that they do work. They tend to tap in, emotional or create emotional triggers because us humans, we're all emotional people, but some experts believe that certain CEOs or business people don't get emotional, but they do, because emotions are important. Like if their business is not doing well, that's one type, the fear of failure. So
I think it's the opposite. I think CEOs are the most emotional people on the planet. Like, if anything, it would be the person at the counter, the accountant who's the emotionless one. I think CEOs are usually awesomely emotional, volatile, brilliant characters.
no, it's true, because I read a piece from it's a very famous UK marketer, Drayton Byrne. He did talk about that. So I know some marketers don't, but he's telling the truth. He said they do have emotions, because he said basically some people it will even steal, and this, I'm just recounting this, just to get a job promotion. Like some people, they are emotional, so they can be executive. But yeah, I agree, CEOs are emotional. So just talking about those words, there's a lot of good words to use, but the ones that come to mind, like discover, introducing, proven. So I was talking about proof before. So proven is a really strong word to use in your headline if you've got something that really works well. And easy, people like easy, they don't like their life to be hard. Guaranteed's another one. Results, even free. I know people seem to think it's old, it's out of date. It doesn't. Free still works. And money, I heard that money's another good power word. And unlock, unleash. There's quite a few other ones, but I think that's a good start for anyone that's watching today.
Wow, gotcha. Now, I just thought of this interesting question that came up. I want to ask you about your Italian heritage. Now, as a side note, I come from a Persian background. However, I've always been mistaken as an Italian my whole life. I even grew up in Melbourne on Lygon Street. Great spot, by the way, the Little Italy of Melbourne. And I've got a lot of, like yourself, I've got a lot of Italian friends and clients around the world. How come Italians, you're all naturally persuasive? I've always wanted to ask that question. How come Italians naturally are persuasive? Where does that come from? I'm just curious of that sort of racial trait you guys awesomely have.
I don't know. It's a survival instinct, I think. Some Italians are better at it than others. My parents, which we worked together in a family business, they were very persuasive salespeople. So I guess that's where I got some of my skills from. But I think Italians, they're very determined people, very fierce, depending if they come from the south. So I come from the south of Italy. My dad's was from Calabria, which is very famous for it's one of the 3 places that has mafia influence. But it's a beautiful region as well. But a lot of people do make references. But I think Sicily is where a lot of the mob movies, the figures are based on. But I don't know. It's a phenomenon, and there's a lot of successful Italian businessmen and women. And I guess it's in the culture. But I think maybe because of the Second World War, it was toughened us up, and it could have had a lot to do with that. The hunger to survival, immigrants especially had to prove themselves when they moved to other countries as well.
Wow. Amazing backstory. And I got to say, I love your copywriting adventures. And I was going to say to all our friends and viewers across the world watching this video now, if someone's really stuck on their copywriting, of course they should talk to you, and we're going to come back to that. Of course they should reach out to you, which we'll come back to later on. However, I just want to ask you, if someone's really stuck, if they're trying to write a post on LinkedIn or they're trying to do a lead page or something, besides coming to you, which we'll come to shortly, what are some of your top tips you'd give to them to really help them get started with their writing?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Edward. Because look, admittedly, I get stuck too. But the best sort of advice I'd give: don't treat it as writing. Just let the creative juices flow naturally. Because yeah, when you force it, it doesn't come out as good. So yeah, just I'd say the best sources of inspiration is when you're not behind your phone or laptop. It could be you're in the shower, like singing in the shower, driving your car. I do get ideas when I'm driving because you'll concentrate on one thing. But it's this phenomenon. It's called the RAS, reticular activation system. Refers to a bunch of nerves at the back of your head, and that does trigger. That's responsible for triggering out these thoughts. But yeah, doing reading does help. I'd say, especially gossip magazines, because they got some of the best copywriters. Otherwise, they can't sell those magazines.
So you're recommending everyone reads gossip magazines. So New Idea, British tabloids, Meghan and Harry scandals. We definitely should read them. I agree.
Yeah, trashy. The more trashier, the better. I mean, it's like the National Enquirer. They've got some brilliant headlines, especially when I've researched them lately on Google. They've got some rippers on Trump. I mean, he followed Trump because anyone who's a human headline, they'll write many about him.
Yeah, because and again, you know this better than me. I mean, you're the copywriter, but I understand that in the media, and just using just Trump or anyone as an example, but let's say Trump, I've heard this term called the Trump bump, in that whenever a publication writes about Trump, let's say they're online or, on cable, they just get a bump in their ratings. So whenever people talk about Trump, they always get a bump in their viewership. Is that because of what the whole Trump, the emotional thing that brings people in and they click and read it? Is that what it all sort of means?
Yeah, no, because he's a master of persuasion. I know a lot of people don't like him because of his controversial style and remarks, but he definitely knows how to handle people, and he knows how to manipulate people. But that's what he does. He gets people's attention. So anything that you reference back to him, it's definitely going to go viral. Look, I haven't done many posts, but if you are, writing a political writer, you may need to reference him. But no, definitely because of his influence. But I think he knows that. I think for him it's a game. That's that's the way I think he sees himself.
Yeah. Well, apparently I heard the story about Trump through the party, actually, through the party I'm in. And apparently what happened was Trump was in a meeting and he had his phone. So he was holding his phone. So apparently in one of his rooms, he has all these TVs playing all the different media outlets. And what he did was apparently he grabbed his phone and went to Twitter and just apparently typed in a few dots or just a few characters and hit post. And within like 60 seconds, people on TV were reporting about it.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think because he's a person that he's spur of the moment. He's in the moment. I think that's why his tweets go viral.
Yeah, and you said that before, and again, moving away from politics, you said in the moment and creative juices before. I couldn't agree with you more. How can we, and we've all heard the term writer's block, and I mean, I get that a lot. If you've got writer's block, again, besides talking to you, which we'll come up to shortly, but let's say you've got writer's block. What are some of your top tips for overcoming writer's block to get those creative juices flowing again?
Yeah, look, I've read about it and I experienced it too, because even recently I've not really written many articles, but yeah, just the common sense approach is just write in small chunks. So yeah, even 7-minute blocks, just try that, or 5-minute or 10-minute, and then just stop, go and do another activity, then return to it. But yeah, this is what I heard from one of my copywriting mentors who's amazing, and he recommends 21 minutes. I think he said 11 minutes writing time and then about 20 minutes relaxing. So you can listen to Mozart, or you can listen to AC/DC, or you can listen to Madonna, whatever takes your focus away. So just
Barbara Streisand, perhaps?
Barbara Streisand, I know Van Halen, U2.
Yeah.
Anything that, just...
Bit of Meatloaf, Black Sabbath, Marilyn Manson, whatever you're
into. Yeah, you can go heavy. You can go to, what's his name? He had the reality TV show. He's from the UK. He was he
Sting?
Purple?
You mean Sting? No, he's not heavy.
Sting's more like reggae, soul type thing, but him and his wife, Sharon, just his names slipped my mind, but they had the reality TV show in the late 1990s.
Wow. That's good. You're making a lot of sense, Carl, and I love that tech. I'm actually going to, I might even try that. So you're saying, I like that one. So when you're writing, you work for 7 minutes. Sorry, did I get that right? And then you rest for 20 minutes? Is that what you said?
I've probably mixed it up a bit, but...
A better question, what would you suggest? What's a good time frame to work and break to optimize your creative flow?
Yeah, I mean, if you do writing time, say 10 minutes, and then you're feeling stuck, then I'd say take a break and then maybe just double that in terms of leisure activity. So if you know you're getting stuck, the best thing is just to save your work and just break from that. So I might have said 5 or 7 minutes earlier, but don't treat it as gospel. Your brain will tell you when to stop, because you cannot write when your brain's overloaded.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'd say, try 7 minutes as an average.
Okay, I like it. So maybe 7 minutes working, give yourself a 10-minute break and see how you feel and go back to it if you're feeling more in the zone.
Yeah, and just anything that takes your mind off things. And I mean, sometimes I even take a break longer because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I don't like to post something that's not going to interest people. So until I've nailed it, but it's one of those things you got to keep chipping away. But just don't stop. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's well said. Now, I want to talk to you about movies for a second, because just for the sake of the audience around the world, Carlo, a few months ago, put the idea in my head to watch Godfather, Goodfellas, and all these Italian mobster films. And just let everyone know, since that, Carlo has turned me into an Italian mobster film fan. I've done Godfather, Goodfellas, love Casino. Casino really did well. Of course, I've seen Scarface, but I was going to say, one of our favourite actors is Joe Pesci, right? The American-Italian actor. Now, Joe Pesci is an amazing actor, and I'm sure you all know him. Like, what are some of his... He was like in Home Alone as a comedy role. Actually, in fact, what are some of his top films, would you say Joe Pesci's been in, Carlo?
Well, Home Alone, well, that's our family favourite, but I think one of the first ones I watched was My Cousin Vinny. I think... Marisa Tomei was the actress. I'm not sure if she won a Best Supporting Role for that, but no, that one definitely comes to mind. But he was in Casino. I think he was in another mobster movie. I think
Goodfellas. Was it
Goodfellas? Yeah, that one. I thought that was pretty good. And he's done quite a few, but those three are really, they're rippers.
And the reason why I bring up Joe Pesci is, besides, I think he's an amazing actor, he's naturally so persuasive, because be it he's on screen, the words that he uses, but I've even watched a lot of Joe Pesci off camera when you see him just being interviewed like on a late night TV show. What makes Joe Pesci so persuasive? Okay, like what would you say as a leading copywriter and marketer and influencer guy, Carlo? Why does Joe Pesci have such star power? And what makes him naturally persuasive, be it on camera or off camera?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, Edward. I'd say he just says it with such, like oomph. His lines, they're unforgettable. So it's a bit like copywriting. you've got to really hit their nerve with an unforgettable phrase or word. So, yeah, he's just got this way, but he's kind of funny when he's angry and he goes off on those rants, like in Casino. It's kind of funny, but it's a serious thing where he's about to threaten someone to do harm on them or perhaps kill them. He's just, he's kind of funny when he's angry. I think that's why he's so persuasive, because it's like he captures those emotions all in once.
Yeah, it's funny actually. And again, I'm trying to keep this PG-13 for the sake of the audience. But remember that scene in Casino? And by the way, friends, if you haven't seen the Casino, it's a great film from the '90s. It's got Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, and Joe Pesci. Great film, highly recommended. There's this funny scene where Joe Pesci and his friend are they're loan sharks. They're going to get some money from someone, and they're at like basically a sports betting gambling center. And there's like this little, you know how on a wall you have the little hole in it where you talk to the person in the wall? And Joe Pesci walks up to this guy saying, "Where's my money?" And the guy starts pretending, "Oh, what money?" And then obviously censoring it, Joe Pesci says, "Well, if I shove your such and such head through that hole, will you remember?" And the guy all of a sudden remembers. You're right, even though he's threatening violence, he has this funny charm about it that makes him persuasive. He has this sense of humor. How does humor work? Because obviously Joe Pesci has this masterful humor that persuades. Why is humor so persuasive?
Well, I mean, in movies, it's obviously important, but I know a lot of the copywriting gurus out there, they don't believe humour is recommended in writing, but it's still, your sales piece still has to be memorable, and it's got to be entertaining. Put it this way: so as a movie, whether it's a gangster movie or whether it's a rom-com, any type of genre movie, it's got to be entertaining. The same as copywriting. That's the same parallel that I compare both forms to. So humour may not work in some markets in copy, but it does work in movies. But entertainment is what persuades, because that keeps us glued to the set, and we always will remember, a memorable scene from a movie. And in copy is the same. You will remember something if it's really, well written or memorable. It could be the offer that's memorable, but in a sense, you do have to entertain your audience either way.
Gotcha. So in the case of Joe Pesci, he obviously uses humor, be it tragic humor or intentional Home Alone humor, but he uses humor as a means to entertain. And back to copywriting, the more you can entertain, that will help lift your persuasion. Is that what you sort of kind of mean by all that?
Yeah, well, part of entertainment is storytelling. So it usually doesn't matter what movie. Story, it has to have an interesting plot line or story. I mean, one copywriter, I posted one of his videos the other night, and he likes King Kong, the 1932 version.
Which was, I think, is better than the new version. I thought the 1932 version was.
And he said the movie that he thinks is right up there, all copywriters should watch. He said Casablanca. Well, that one really surprised me, but they were his two picks. But he said in those days, whoever was writing the films, they were like accountable. So the directors would bang on the door, and they'd always be on their back, but they had to be good because they had to pump them out type thing. But it's great movies. They have this kind of effect they have on you where they keep you glued, like it's kind of that on the edge of your seat type thing. So that's also another parallel between persuasive copywriting and movies. That they've got to keep you guessing, like Survivor and Maths, those type of shows. Cliffhangers, that's right. That's the word I was thinking of.
Cliffhangers. Well, Carlo, this is great. I'm going to say, as we bring this interview to its epic conclusion, I've got to say it was epic. I can't wait till I upload this to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and more. Carlo, I just want to ask you, what are some of your closing thoughts for our audience around the world to help them survive and thrive with their awesome copywriting?
Yeah, my main tips is, say something well, and yeah, don't be afraid to tell your story. So LinkedIn's really good now. It's Microsoft allows you to have sort of fun with it. So like, yeah, have fun with your posts, but obviously you have to keep it business-like if you're in professional services. So, but yeah, when you think of persuasion, just think of a great ad that's persuaded you to buy a product. What were the elements that helped you make that decision? And yeah, think of a good movie. Think of like a gangster movie. No, just always expose your brain to different sources, so you're pulling things from different sort of avenues. So yeah, don't rely on one source, but yeah, just get creative. But you need those power words. The best advice I give to everyone, just use one of those 120 power words that I've compiled. So that's my tips, short and sweet.
Carlo, I got to say, we love it. And as I was alluding to before, to my friends across the world, as you can tell, Carlo's a very smart guy. He's been a very successful businessman his whole life. He, of course, is an amazing copywriter and he has some amazing ideas. And Carlo, I just want to give the last word to you. How can people find you and how does that all work?
Look, I have to admit, I'm a LinkedIn nerd, just like yourself and Celeste Ansell and Adrian Lee and all these great people that we are associated with. So no, that'll be the best bet. If we're not connected, just send me a request. I'll accept immediately. And if we are, just send me a private message, say hello, and happy to start the conversation. I mean, I do have a website, epiccopywriting.com.au, and a Facebook business page, which is Epic Copywriting, and a Facebook group, also a LinkedIn group. But I'd say LinkedIn is definitely where they will find me.
Carlo, thank you. Really appreciate you. The last word is all yours. I just want to say on behalf of myself and the audience, you're amazing. Thank you, and we appreciate you.
No, I appreciate the interview, and it's really enjoyable being influenced by global influencer like you. So I had a really good time today.